Hey everybody, welcome back to the 80s Slashers YouTube channel. In this video, I will be discussing and reviewing the 1989 slasher Rush Week. We will talk about the plot of the film, the setting, the kills, the nudity. We'll take a quick look at the Blu-ray itself before wrapping it all up with some final thoughts. Now, Rush Week is a film. It's a film I've never seen before. It's one that I've known about for quite some time. One I've always wanted to check out. I've just never gotten around to watching it for whatever reason. In fact, besides knowing that it was a college campus type slasher, mostly due to the title of the film, I knew absolutely nothing else about this film. So when I finally got this, I didn't look at the back cover. I didn't read any reviews. I went in completely blind. And I'm really glad I did that because in many ways, this film really kind of surprised me. The the biggest surprise while watching this film was finding out just exactly what type of slasher this film is. And it's kind of a unique type of film. But before we get into all the specifics of what this slasher is and isn't, let's just jump right in right now and start off by taking a look at the plot. All right, so Rush Week. Now, basically, what this film starts out. We start off obviously on a college campus, and we see the lead character here. I think she's kind of new to the school. She transfers to the school, and she's a like a journalism major. And so she's trying to find some good story. She's been assigned a story by her editors, who is Greg Allman of all things from the Allman Brothers Band, which is kind of a weird thing. But yeah, she's assigned a story to cover Rush Week. It's an annual tradition on the campus. So she's starting to go to these parties and she's asking around, trying to get some kind of a decent story to further her journalism career. Um, well, as Rush Week continues on, she gets turned on to the fact that some young women, some university students, appear to be go missing. There's as the story unfolds, we see there's like a kind of like a habit of these women are going to get photographed. They're meeting some strange man at night in one of like the science buildings on campus. They're going, for money to take nude, pictures with this photographer. And these are the women who apparently seem to start showing up missing. So of course, as a journalism student, she's trying to get to the bottom of it, and she starts an investigation. There's people who don't believe her, think she's just imagining things. There's other people who are pushing back on her, trying to, not trying to get her not to look into the story as much, and it kind of goes from there. She's doing her investigation, but at the same time, she's involved in the Rush Week. She's meeting friends, she's meeting love interests, and all the time there's this, as we know, the viewer, there's a killer on the loose, killing these young girls, and we're trying to piece it all together. So that's kind of what the main plot is about. So kind of interesting, kind of unique. So the first thing that stood out to me while watching Rush Week was that this film seems to have sort of an identity crisis going on, I would say. It feels like it isn't sure what type of film it wants to be. Um, like, is it an 80s slasher? Yeah, definitely. It's definitely an 80s slasher. It has all the familiar tropes and, like, it follows for the most part the formula that we've come to know with these types of films. But while, like I said, while it does fall within the 80s slasher subgenre, I would say that accounts for about 30% of this film. I would say another like 35% of this film is like an investigative procedural mystery element, like a whodunit. Almost like this girl is kind of acting as like a grown-up Nancy Drew, almost with she's onto the mystery. She's looking for clues, but then she's running into people and she's developing like a romance kind of thing. So it's kind of like a story about her and her journey while you know doing like an investigation. So there's that kind of genre of film mixed in with this. It's really heavy on the investigation. But then there's like another 35% of the film that I would say is kind of like the college campus hijinks comedy type film. Similar to like, your National Lampoon's Animal House, your Revenge of the Nerds, Porky's to an extent. That type of subgenre of films that take place on like a school campus where, you see like the students pulling pranks on each other and chasing after women and all that stuff. It's the comedy aspect. It's that was a big part of this film, and it felt like I was, for a lot of moments, it felt like I was watching an Animal House style comedy film that just happened to have a murder mystery subplot that involved slasher elements when it got to the kills. That's what it is. It's the best way that I could describe this film. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I found it really interesting. So before we get into all like the slasher elements, what we're here to look at and talk about, I'll say this: the the comedy, the college hijinks comedy aspect of this film, it worked pretty good for me. I love that subgenre of film. I love Animal House. I love Revenge of the Nerds, Porky's, all that stuff. I love those films, and you know the it, the elements that they put into this film kind of, like I said, it worked for me. There was definitely some silly, late 80s cheese moments. This is 89, so it's not, you know, a lot of those films that we talked about were either, well, Animal House was in the 70s or early 80s with the Porkies and Revenge of the Nerds. Um, but for the type of, for that type of genre, I felt that this film did a pretty good job with that, and I had some fun with it. Now, as for the investigation slash mystery part element to this film, um, this aspect didn't work as well for me. And the biggest issue was that I figured out the mystery. I knew exactly how this film was going to play out within the first 5 minutes. Now, maybe that's just me. Maybe I've seen too many of these films. I've seen too many slashers, and what cues to look for, in terms of identifying the killer. But regardless, because of that, it was pretty predictable to me. And the way that they tried to drag out the mystery by keep introducing these suspects that were that they were trying to, like, is it this person, is it this person, oh, and they kept putting the music in and like these looks on their faces, like, oh, maybe this is the killer. And again, like, for me, it was obvious who it was. I figured it out. So all of this extra stuff, like really trying hard to to take our direction elsewhere, it kind of made it a little more silly for me. So yeah, that was too bad. Now, also the lead actress here. She was good. She's a fine actress. She did a good job, but her character was just a little too gung ho with her investigation for me. She went around and she made some really silly, like ridiculous decisions, things that kind of took me out of the film at times. You know, like I get these young college students who are ambitious. She's trying to get a career as investigative journalist, but some of the stuff she did, I was just like, come on, like it's just ridiculous. No normal person would have done that. And like I said, it just kind of took me out of the flow of the movie sometimes, which is too bad. So yeah, Rush Week is it's an interesting film. Like I said, it sort of dances between genres. Some of it works and some of it doesn't. But regardless of that, it does manage to be quite a fun film at times. As long as you can handle like I said, the occasional late '80s cheese that pops up every once in a while. Um, yeah, I can't really complain too much. It's just to note that it's an interesting hybrid of these kind of different genres. All right, so yeah, that's enough with the plot. Let's move on and take a look at the setting. All right, so yeah, obviously, Rush Week is a film that is set on a college campus during Rush Week, and I believe almost every single scene in this film, from beginning to end, occurs on the campus. I don't think there's any scenes where they stray outside and go into town at a restaurant or at someone's house. Um, I think the entire, like 100% of the entire movie is filmed on campus, which I loved because by doing that, it really immerses you in that, the college experience. Like the film starts, you're plucked right down into the college campus, and you don't leave. Um, and it's great. It really, like I said, it just really keeps you in that atmosphere for the entire film, which I absolutely love. So I like that they did that. Uh, you know, with within this college campus, you get to see things, multiple frat houses. Like the exterior and like the interior, some bedrooms, a living room, like a lot of different areas within the frat houses, which is really cool. You get to see some classrooms, of course. Some scenes in the college cafeteria, the dean's office, exterior courtyard shots of, walking between classes or walking between buildings, in the big picturesque grass lawns of college campuses, which is cool. School newspaper offices, in dorm rooms, and just everything. Like, you just get to see basically like a full experience of the college lifestyle. It's great. Now, a lot of the film, obviously, a horror film, a slasher film, a lot of it occurs at night, and I found that the lighting used for some of these exterior, like I said, the courtyard shots, when like between the buildings, the nice manicured grass lawns or whatnot, a lot of those scenes I thought looked really good. There was a lot of you can kind of see it in the picture here. There's a lot of like blues and yellows in terms of the lighting used, which it just made it really look good. Um, it just I don't know. It's just the some of the, like, I guess the cinematography for this film, like especially these nighttime shots, just looked really good. It really added to the atmosphere, the creepiness. If there was a killer on the loose on a college campus and you were walking between frat houses and like school buildings and whatnot, it would kind of give you a creepy atmospheric feeling. And the way they lit some of these scenes, I feel like they did just a really good job. And this is a direct to video film. This didn't get a theatrical release, so the fact that this was a straight to video type film, they didn't cheap out on the budget for in terms of making this. This film looks really good. I feel like The filmmakers did a really good job. Um, it's just a good looking film, and because of like the really like I said, some of the lighting and just the immersion that you have stuck at this college campus for the entirety of the film. It just has a really good atmosphere, you know. Again, it plays into the college campus hijinks comedy uh, genre as well, because like I said, you don't leave this setting, so you feel like you're there. You're caught in this rush week with all the fun and the pranks going on, but then you're caught there because there's a killer on the loose. So yeah, I don't know. I think the setting for this is great in terms of like a college campus setting, which we've seen countless times in these films. But this one does it really well because, just like I say, because you don't get to leave. Like you're there the whole time, and that's at least for me. That's something kind of special. It's immersive. So yeah, in terms of the setting, I really liked the Rush Week setting. So yeah, not too bad at all. All right, let's move on and talk about the kills. All right, so Rush Week has a total of five kills. Now, that's I guess when we talk about slashers, that's not a terrible number. We've seen some on this channel already that have had less kills than five. We've seen some in the teens, 10, 12. So five is not it's not a big number of kills. Unfortunately, this is the weakest aspect of this film, in my opinion. And for a slasher, that's not good. That you don't want the kills to be the weak point of this film, but that's what it is. The first three kills that occur, the pacing, I guess in terms of pacing for as few as only five kills, it was pretty good. They were pretty balanced throughout the film, I guess. Like there wasn't any long. It didn't seem like there was long stretches between kills. But regardless, the first three kills that happen off screen. There's no blood. There's no practical effect. There's no body. You just see basically the killer. The killer's weapon is a big double-ended axe, and basically you see them raise the axe and swing it. And that's it. You don't see the victim. You don't see anything. That's the kill. The first three all the same. Really disappointing. I thought as I was watching this that this is all we were gonna get. Now, by the time the fourth kill comes, there is some blood. Finally, it's not a great kill, but there's blood. I guess there may be a little bit of practical effect. You see the body taking damage. So I guess in comparison with the first three, it seemed better than it was. In any other slasher, it's wouldn't have been a very very good kill. But again, we get a little bit of blood. Now, the fifth and final kill in this film is actually pretty good. It's basically what you get. I don't want to get into too much spoilers, but we basically get to see a fairly decent decapitation scene. And this, as it happened, it kind of surprised me because, like I said, because of the first, like every other kill up to this point, I wasn't expecting much. And then when we got this decapitation scene, it it was good. Like there was a clear practical effect used. There was blood. It was good. I really it was a highlight kill for sure. A highlight kill on this film for sure. Now, but I'm gonna say even with that great kill, um, overall as a whole, the kills in this film were a clear disappointment. It was almost as if they were an afterthought. They were focused so much on this mystery, trying to play up this Nancy Drew character, investigating, trying to you know lead us off course with all these different suspects and whatnot, and then throwing in the hijinks of the rush week, the college pranks and whatnot. The kills were just something that they had to get through for the mystery to play out. So the first couple, it just seems like they're just like, all right, this person's gonna get killed. Let's move on. That's kind of how it felt, which for a slasher is not the way to do it. You wanna, this is why we go see these films to see these great kills. So Yeah, like I said, overall, kills kind of a disappointment, which it's the weak point of the film. But at least we got one decent highlight kill. So if you can stick around long enough to watch the film, there is a payoff in terms of kills. So there's that. All right, let's move on and let's talk about the nudity. All right, Rush Week has a total of 6 scenes of nudity, one more than the 5 kills. So this film has a ton of nudity. Um, and I'll say right from the bat, as soon as the credits end it rolling at the beginning of the film, once we see, directed by the last credit, the first nude scene occurs within 60 seconds after that. It's they get right to it. So and it pretty much doesn't stop the whole way through. There's nude scenes, like I said, throughout the whole film. Now, most of these scenes, although they were 100% like the type of scenes that are just completely gratuitous in nature, the types that you would see from a slasher film, or the types that you would see from these Porky's Revenge of the Nerds films, just showing nudity for the sake of nudity, just doesn't need to be there, but they're going to throw it in. That's a majority of this nudity. That's what you got, just completely gratuitous, fun, um, stuff, that's what it is. But uh, it, even though, like I said, it was completely gratuitous, most of this nudity was pretty brief. Quick flashes. Someone turns around, and then turns back around, like very brief. No lingering camera, no close up zooming in, nothing of that. There was a little bit, like some of the scenes were a little more longer, I guess you could say, than others. But for the most part, a lot of these scenes were pretty brief. Sometimes the camera cuts away and shows another character, and they come back and they show a little more. So when the scene is, it's not just one quick glimpse. Each of these 6 scenes, some of these scenes, it's back and forth until the scene ends. Um, but yeah, that's what you get, and you get your typical types of nude scenes for these films. There's a shower scene. There's obviously there's like a sex scene. Like I said, there's a couple modeling scenes. Like part of the mystery is these women are going getting photographed by by someone, nude photography, and so there's a couple of those scenes, and there's, like I said, there's just random flashes like at parties and whatnot. Like I said, pretty typical type of nudity for both the slasher genre and the college campus um, comedy type genre. Now, I will say the the women used for these nude scenes all had a couple things in common, and most of these things were, you know, they all these women were they seemed like they were cast from like a gentleman's club, or from like a magazine. Like they were all very well endowed women. I guess I'll say that. The lead girl was the only girl who kind of had like a normal looking body. All the other girls were very um, large chested women that were clearly cast for that for that role. So if that's kind of your thing, this film is really good for that. They're very attractive women, with certain assets that made them, um, castable for an 80s slasher type film. So, yeah, that's what I'll say. So, yeah, like Rush Week, like I said, if you like a little bit of nudity in these films, just for the fun factor, this is definitely a good one for that. Yeah, so we'll leave it at that. All right, let's move on and take a look at the Blu-ray. All right, so yeah, this Blu-ray Rush Week here was released by Vinegar Syndrome. who, like I said, if you've been watching this channel, I've been reviewing a lot of films for them. I'm picking them up from their website. They have a lot of sales throughout the year, and yeah, this is a great one. Now, this one usually I think you can still get copies of this that come with a slipcase. I'm weird with the slipcases. I usually want to always display the original artwork if I can, unless like the newly commissioned artwork I really like. I didn't like the new artwork on this one as much as just this old school, VHS type looking artwork. So I opted not to get the slipcase. But yeah, I believe you can still get it if you want it. So basically, you get reversible cover art. So that again, this is the original cover art, or one of the original. There's a couple different ones, but I like this. But then you can look here, and that's what you get on the slipcase. Which that's not bad. I don't know. I prefer that. Just again, just my personal preference, but you get the option. Yeah. So just a single Blu-ray. Not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, the purple. I don't like the purple either. I don't know. I don't like the purple spine. It's weird. Anyway, nice clear case, pretty solid. In terms of in terms of audio video quality, like I said, this looks great. This, even though it's a direct to video film, it was shot on film and 35 millimeter film, and it looks good. It looks really good, and this is obviously the best you're ever gonna get on this, unless we get a 4K or whatnot. But this looks great. If you're gonna pick up this film, this is definitely the best way to do it. It looks good. Like I said, it sounds good. Yeah, just I think it's a really strong presentation for this film, especially like I said, for a late 80s direct to video film. It looks good. It looks really good. In terms of special features, there's not too much on here. Like I said, you get the new and restored 2K scan from the 35 millimeter interpositive. So that's what you're paying for basically. That's what I'm paying for. You get two interviews on here with an actor, one of the male actors and one of the female actors. They're both about 13 minutes each. So you get about 26 minutes of bonus interview footage here. And then you get a commentary track from the guys over at the Hysteria Continues, who have a great website and a really good podcast that talk about horror. So they've been partnering with Vinegar Syndrome for a while. They're on a whole bunch of their Blu-ray releases doing commentary tracks. And yeah, and the reversible cover art. So that's it. So 26 minutes of interviews and a commentary track and a reversible cover art and or a slipcover. And that's basically what you're getting with this package. But yeah, again, I highly recommend it. This is, if you're interested in checking out this film, or if you're already a fan, this is without a doubt the best way to check it out. All right, yeah. So let's just move on and wrap this up with some final thoughts. All right, so yeah, Rush Week. Rush Week is certainly an interesting film. It's in some ways it's even uh, more interesting as a slasher, because going into this blind, not knowing what to expect, I was pretty surprised to discover that this played out as equal part slasher, equal part college campus comedy, and then equal part investigative mystery genre of film. And like I said before, even though not all of these elements um, worked, exactly the way they probably wanted to, at least for me, they all still found a way to kind of blend together to make a film that didn't seem disjointed, in spite of these mix of genres. It flowed pretty good, and they kind of incorporated these three genres together into make this film, and it is what it is. And it like I said, it as a whole, for me at least, it works. In terms of the slasher elements, it's pretty split for me. I really enjoyed the college campus setting. It's just the filmmakers did a good job of capturing this setting, and it's very atmospheric and very immersive. Um, like I said, they utilized it really effectively. And if you're someone who is a fan of, gratuitous nudity in these types of films, Rush Week will not disappoint you at all in that regard. Unfortunately, the kills are kind of a letdown, in terms of just the sheer quantity and just kind of basically the quality of them in terms of not a lot of blood, not a lot of practical effects, if any, for some of these kills. But again, at least there was the one highlight kill that maybe makes up for it. I don't know. It's at least there's something in this for you to watch in terms of kills. But yeah, pretty much a letdown. Uh, Also, I found the whole, the mystery reveal aspect of this extremely predictable, which kind of ruins the fun a little bit. Now, again, it may just be me. If you haven't watched a ton of these, maybe if you can't figure out the mystery within the first 5 minutes, maybe this will be a whole different viewing experience for you. Uh, Unfortunately for me, it was pretty predictable. Now, it's not a bad plot. It's just one that, at this point, we've we've seen so many times that I feel like a lot of us will be able to figure it out, fairly early in the film. But yeah, overall, Rush Week was it's a fun late 80s slasher that I enjoyed it quite a bit. Despite its shortcomings, it certainly stands out in the genre, if only for the fact that like I said, it's a hybrid of a few different film genres, and in my opinion, it kind of pulled it off. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and recommend Rush Week, for those who haven't seen it. Like I said, just be aware of its shortcomings. Know what you're getting into. It's not a perfect film, but it's one that's pretty unique and pretty fun. There's some really fun stuff in this film. So, yeah, that's about it, guys. That's my review of Rush Week. So, once again, if you made it this far, thanks thanks for watching, and yeah, until next time. All right, see ya.